Life has a really funny way of giving you the same test over and over and over again until you finally pass the test. And for most of my life, I was given the exact same test over and over and over again. It started out when I was in high school, then throughout my college baseball career, and even into my business. And my inability to pass this test cost me my baseball career, and it almost cost me my literally $1 million business, despite the fact that I've had a pretty good amount of success in my life. I played at three Division I schools. I played at the University of Notre Dame. I played at the University of South Carolina. I played at Southern Illinois University, set a school home run record there. We won 40 games. I was a starting shortstop at San Jac, which we finished third in the country that year. If you look on paper, I had a pretty good career, right? And then you could look at my business and see that I've made millions of dollars online and think, you know what? Like, this guy must have all the answers. But I've always known deep down that I had way more in the tank. And, when I look back at my baseball career, it was the same problem over and over and over again. I had an inability to take accountability for my results, right? At Notre Dame, I would blame the coach. At San Jac, got in trouble there. I actually couldn't pass a drug test there. At Notre Dame, I got kicked out of practice. I got suspended from 2 practices in a game because I was a troublemaker in study hall. At South Carolina, I actually almost failed the drug test there too. And, ended up getting cut from there. And then I don't think I cared enough at Southern Illinois for it to really matter. But every single one of those scenarios, and it's not easy for me to share that, right? Every single time I share something deep about how I was like a huge degenerate in my past, I get a little bit concerned. I'm like, should I really be sharing this on social media? And to be honest with you, I think it would be terrible if I didn't. Because I had a really funny way of putting the blame on everybody else. I would tell myself this story that, this coach was in my head and he's the reason that I can't have success. And that became true. Because that's what I believe, that became true. And anytime I felt like, the coach wasn't against me or they didn't care about me, which is a way deeper rooted issue that is probably a story for another day, I would struggle. And then I would look externally and I would start blaming the world for my struggles in my life. It was my coach's fault. It was my teammate. It was the umpire. It was the weather. It was this. It was the birds chirping, whatever. That was the reason why I couldn't have success. And then I get into my business and we're cranking $100,000 months, but I'm having a difficult time really scaling it. And so, you know what? Instead of learning my lesson that was in my career, right? The reason why I couldn't stay at one school was me. I was the problem, right? The reason why we couldn't scale past $1 million a year was because of me, because I didn't know how, right? But what did I do instead? What was my first reaction? It must be the people that we sell to. It must be the business model. It must be this. It was everything but my fault. And so that was a recurring theme that I noticed about myself in my life is I just didn't take accountability for the hard things, right? It was easy for me to take accountability for, let's say, if I wanted to get stronger, right? Or, I don't know, the things that I knew how to do, but the things that I didn't know how to do, like, I don't know, regulate my emotions or scale a business to $2 to $3 million a year or really manage a sales team or really, be a better leader, run a better program, be a better leader on the field, right? All these things that I didn't know how to do, I would just get frustrated and blame the environment. I would blame everybody and everything around me. And it really held me back a lot. And the crazy part is that most people don't realize that they're being given the same test over and over and over and over and over again in their life. And until you finally can pass that test, it'll come out in as many different forms as possible. You know, it might come out in your relationship. Like, even in my relationships, I never took accountability for the things that were going on in the relationship. And it was always my partner's fault. It was always my partner's fault. And I doubt any of my exes are watching this right now, but if you are, I'm sorry. And it took a lot of introspection. It took a lot of looking internally to realize that I was the source of every single one of those problems. And since I've been able to look internally and allow my ego to die and kill off my ego and be like, okay, like, I have some things that I need to work on, and I've started to try and change my internal, my external, now as a result is following suit. Because at the end of the day, the world is just a mirror. And if we understand the world is just a mirror for our internal state, and we can control our internal state and we can change our internal state, then we can quite literally change our reality and morph it and bend it to however we want. And I'll probably talk more about this in future videos as well of, you know, what I'm really learning about that. But the message in this video is very simple. Most of you guys are being given the exact same problem over and over and over and over and over again, you know, or the exact same situation. You're running into the same block. And if you're a former athlete, then whatever you were running into in your athletic career, you're probably running into in your business right now. Until you handle the root of that problem, it's going to continue to come up in every single situation. It'll even come up if you have children, it'll come out in your kids, right? And if they don't handle it, it'll come out in their kids. So whatever the big block is for you, you need to handle it. You need to look it dead in the face, and you need to run head first towards it. Your entire future is depending on it, right? Your entire family lineage, if you will, is depending on it. But until you can take that accountability and really look yourself in the mirror and say, I am the reason why these things are happening over and over again. I'm going to change my internal state, and as a result, my reality is going to change. Until you can do that, you'll forever be stuck on the same level. But if you can master your internal state, you can overcome whatever problem it is that you continue to face. Then there are no limits to what you can accomplish. I'm living proof. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. Happy Friday, y'all. Catch you in the next one. Peace.